One of the reasons Tom Foley is doing so well in the polls may well be that people understand that the Connecticut General Assembly is solidly in the hands of the Democrats, and maybe we don't want a Democrat in the governor's mansion at this point in time. Maybe we do need that checks and balances. Maybe we don't need all the power in the hands of one party. I think that probably is a good point that Tom Foley made tonight.
And this is obviously not their first debate. Do you think they seem like they've been well rehearsed at this point? No,
they're very well rehearsed. Tom seems to know previous answers pretty well, although he has been called on some of those comments about those previous answers. But there's no question that the two men are very capable, very competent, and I think very dedicated to winning the job and doing the best they can for the state. Again, one of the real issues for me is, do we want to have the Democrat Party hold all the levers of power here in the state of Connecticut? I think a lot of people are concerned about it.
If people think they've been well served over the last 16 years, no job creation, falling behind in education, I mean, what does he offer separate and apart that's different than what these other folks have fed us all along? Listen, you could have listened to him today and understood that he was taking plays out of Karl Rove's playbook. That's what he was doing. You know, every Democrat's evil because they're going to do this, this, and this. Did he actually tell you one cut he was going to make in the budget? Did he tell you one cut he was going to make in the budget? The answer is no.
One of your cuts that you...
I think it's, bait and switch.
One of the cuts you talk about is reducing state agencies by about a third, which implies a lot. But the reality is you're talking about a reorganization on paper, aren't you? As opposed to, well, what would be cut? What would the state get out of merging those? Because you're not talking about reducing positions, correct?
No, I am talking about it. Honestly, we're going to have to. First of all, we're going to have to reduce positions to balance this budget, and I've made that very clear. Listen, you're asking me. Let me push back a little bit. You're asking me questions about my plan when I'm running against the guy who says he's going to balance a $3.4 billion deficit by cutting $2 billion in spending. And then yesterday he said, "Well, I'm going to go after Race to the Top and Tiger Money." Both of which, by the way, can't replace state spending. So there would be no net gain in either of those cases. You know, in me, you have somebody who actually understands how to do a public budget. I've already told you all that we're going to go to GAAP on day one. And then back, I want to answer the question. Let's go back to this. I believe that the management side of state government has grown too rapidly. Over the 16 years that Republicans have led the state, we've increased our workforce by about 4,000, maybe slightly more people. A lot of that in the administrative management ranks, and I think that by combining those agencies by a third, that we actually are able to wring some of that out. Again, I wonder about the viability, or the advisability of taking a bus driver and turning her into an agricultural inspector. I also worry about the health of the people of the state of Connecticut. That's not how we're going to fill jobs.
That's something I've been talking about on the campaign trail since I was talking to RTCs and other groups, but it's the first time I've been talking about it on television, first time I've had the opportunity.